Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Curious Kingdom. Today we are recapping fantasy horror series Strain Season 2. Season 2 commences in 1932 within a Romanian village, where a young Satrakian asks his grandmother to recount a tale. She agrees and begins narrating a story from the past about Józef Sardu, a benevolent Polish nobleman afflicted with gigantism. Despite his condition, Sardu is kind, particularly towards children. However, his brother, Barbin, is ashamed of him and arranges a hunting expedition to find a great gray wolf. Barbin believes that making Sardu drink the wolf's blood will cure his ailment. During the hunting party's journey, they unexpectedly encounter the Master, an ancient vampire in its original form, a pale, paper-skinned beast with spindly fingers and a gnarly walk. The Master, whose frail body couldn't last much longer, attacks Sardu and transfers his consciousness and soul into Sardu's body using a flood of worm vomit. Thus, the Master now inhabits Sardu's form, having relinquished his ancient appearance. Satrakian's grandmother warns him about the pervasive evil in various forms as she recounts this part of the story. In the present, Satrakian returns to Tribeca while carrying Sardu's cane and investigates the location where he attempted to kill the Master previously. Reflecting on his past actions, he realizes the error in judgment that prevented his success. As Satrakian moves through the Master's underground passage, he quickly realizes that he is being followed. Surprisingly, the one who appears is not the Master but a lead paratrooper vampire who introduces himself as Vaughn. He covers Satrakian's head and kidnaps him. At the ancient vampire's headquarters, Satrakian meets Gus, who is now aligned with Vaughn and the Ancients. Vaughn, speaking on behalf of the Ancients, proposes an alliance with Satrakian to locate and eliminate the Master, the seventh of their kind. Satrakian mentions the ancient book, Oxydo Lumen, which holds the key to killing the Master. The Ancients spare Satrakian and make a deal that he will inform them when he finds the Master. Meanwhile, the Master instructs Igors to have Bolivar reclaim his soil and capture some children for him, seeking revenge while his body is deteriorating. Later, Igors meets with Eldritch Palmer, who is desperate to meet the Master. Meanwhile, Coco Marchand, a broker, arrives to discuss a property sale with Eldritch. He plans to acquire an old cleaning factory with drains suitable for the Master's needs. Eldritch is drawn to Coco and offers her a job with triple her previous salary. Satrakian arrives at Vasily's place but keeps the Ancient's secret to himself. He seeks Vasily's help in retrieving additional weapons from his storage locker for emergencies. Zach, frustrated with the situation, argues with Ephraim about returning to his mother or finding a cure to save her. Next, a blind school decides to relocate to a safer place with the help of the Stoneheart group, but it turns out to be a trap set by Igors. He has his men take the kids and some teachers to his location, as ordered by the Master. Igors awakens Kelly from the group of nesting vampires, claiming she is special and granting her the power of independent thought and voice, with her first word being Zach. Back at Vasily's place, F and Nora discuss the search for a weakness in vampire biology since vaccines cannot reverse their transformation into vampires. After much consideration, Ephraim and Nora decide to break the chain of vampire infection by infecting the carriers with a different disease. Satrakian joins them and asks for their assistance in retrieving extra weapons from a storage facility. During the search, they encounter a couple hiding in one of the units to escape the vampires. Nora speaks with the couple while Satrakian, Vasily, and Ephraim collect silver weapons and old research notes. Suddenly, the power goes out, and a group of vampires attacks them in the darkness. Satrakian's group manages to kill the vampires. But unfortunately, the couple gets infected as worms crawl all over their bodies. Vasily is about to shoot them, but Ephraim stops him, realizing that they could be valuable for research to find a cure. Meanwhile, Igors takes Vampire Kelly to a different room with a pile of soil on the ground. He explains that since the Master has chosen her, she has an important role to play in his grand plan. Igors introduces Kelly to the Feelers, blind children turned into vampires, who now consider her their new family. These unique vampires possess sight and perception beyond the visible spectrum. Igors asks Kelly to witness the emergence of the Feelers from the soil, and they crawl towards her as their new mother figure. In another scene, Igors and Bolivar discuss the Master's transformation into a new body, designating Bolivar as his successor. Igors emphasizes that everyone must serve the Master's new form with unwavering faith and loyalty. While Bolivar tries to touch the Master's new coffin, Igors stops him and lies down inside it. Back in the laboratory, Ephraim and Nora inform the infected couple from the storage unit about their impending transformation into vampires. They request the couple's willingness to be test subjects for their research in search of a cure for vampirism. Initially hesitant, the couple eventually agrees, understanding the potential to save numerous lives with their contribution. Back at Vasily's place, Satrakian frantically searches through his old notes. hoping to find a clue leading him to the ancient book, Lumen, which contains vital information on how to kill the Master. In a flashback to 1965, Satrakian is an instructor at the University of Vienna, teaching a class about the history of vampires. During this time, a young Eldritch Palmer arrives at the university and reveals that he knows the truth about vampires and Satrakian's goal to prove their existence. He informs Satrakian that Sardu's cane has been recovered and taken to Vienna, asking him to retrieve it. As Satrakian had been looking after the Master, he agrees to help find the cane. Back in the present, Coco Marchand accepts the job offer from Palmer and is willing to work for him. Palmer explains his food distribution centers throughout the city and asks Coco to write an opening speech for him. Meanwhile, Vasily and Dutch join forces to combat the vampires in a nearby facility, planning to eliminate them one block at a time. With silver grenades from Satrakian's storage locker, they successfully destroy a group of vampires. At Vasily's house, Nora expresses concern about whether the Master will be able to read the minds of the infected couple and track them down once they turn, potentially leading him to Satrakian and the group. Satrakian reassures her that since the couple is unaware of their location, the Master won't be able to find them. In another flashback, Satrakian visits a pawnshop in search of Sardu's cane. He discovers it in a concealed area among Nazi objects and confronts the owner, Dr. Dreverhaven, who reveals himself as a former Nazi doctor responsible for cruel experiments on prisoners at concentration camps. Satrakian chases Dreverhaven after he tries to escape but drops the cane in the process, allowing Satrakian to claim it. Satrakian later delivers the cane to Eldritch Palmer, who is impressed with him. Palmer asks Satrakian to find the Lumen, an ancient book detailing the nature, origin, and destruction of the Master. In exchange for finding Sardu's cane and helping Eldritch Palmer, Palmer offers Satrakian a substantial amount of money and a full-time professor position at the university. Meanwhile, at the laboratory, Ephraim and Nora continue struggling to find the right pathogen to infect vampires without killing their human hosts. They realize that their previous disease strains have failed, so they come up with a plan to infect test subject vampires with a new strain that absorbs amino acids from them. In another scene, Eldritch Palmer delivers an inspiring speech written by Coco to a crowd of people at a food distribution center. During the event, he unexpectedly encounters Satrakian after many years. Palmer threatens Satrakian, claiming that the Master will soon deal with him. However, Satrakian confidently reveals that he is close to finding the Lumen, leaving Palmer alarmed. Before Palmer can take any action, Vasily sets up a time bomb that detonates, creating chaos. Seizing the opportunity, Satrakian and Vasily escape. In a flashback, Dreverhaven returns to his shop and encounters Eichhorst, who had come to buy the cane. Dreverhaven pleads with Eichhorst for help, fearing exposure by Satrakian. Eichhorst offers him a chance to serve the new Fura, but instead, he turns Dreverhaven into a vampire, transforming him into one of the undead. Back in the present, Ephraim and Nora begin testing the strain that absorbs amino acids from the fully turned vampire's body. Meanwhile, Kelly introduces the feelers to one of Zach's coats, instructing them to find him. Elsewhere, Bolivar carries a bag of soil through Manhattan's alley, where he encounters two cops. The worms in the soil infect one of the officers, leading to an attack by nearby vampires, which allows Bolivar to escape. In a following scene, Ephraim and Nora are disappointed as their latest attempt to kill the vampire strain failed and also killed the host body. Meanwhile, Zach attempts to escape on a bus and return home to find Kelly, while Ephraim, Vasily, and Dutch manage to stop Zach and take him back to their residence. Dutch notices a missing flyer of her friend, Nikki. Meanwhile, Satrakian conducts experiments with the white blood of vampires and the bottled worms he collected after killing a random vampire in town. He creates a liquid from them and puts it into his own eye with an eyedropper. Nora finds him unconscious with bleeding eyes and revives him. Despite her inquiries about his condition, Satrakian denies having put anything in his eyes. At the Ancients' headquarters, Vaughn teaches Gus hand-to-hand combat techniques against vampires, including grabbing their tentacles and pulling them out to kill them. He also reveals their next mission, which involves kidnapping Eldritch Palmer. Fitzwilliam faces difficulties entering Staten Island, which is under extreme lockdown, but eventually manages to visit his brother living there. Surprised and glad to see Fitzwilliam, his brother learns that Fitzwilliam no longer works for Palmer. Meanwhile, at an announcement held by the mayor of New York City, George Lyle, Councilwoman Justine Feraldo declares Staten Island as plague-free and showcases several beheaded vampires as a display. She motivates the public and encourages them to have faith and courage. Impressed by the public's response, Feraldo and Lyle plan to replicate the demonstration citywide. At the Stoneheart group, Eichhorst and Bolivar arrive. As the Master is displeased with Satrakian approaching Eldritch Palmer, Bolivar is tasked with keeping an eye on Palmer. Coco confesses to Palmer that she doesn't believe they are good people, but Palmer advises her to stay out of it for her safety. Ephraim takes Zach to the laboratory to show him the vampire subjects, hoping to make him realize that his mother, Kelly, has turned into one of them. Nora asks Satrakian about his condition the next day, and he confesses that he consumed the worms to prolong his life, as he is already 94 years old. The worms can't be ingested directly but can be absorbed through the eyes to improve health. Satrakian's sole mission is to kill the master, so he refuses to die from old age or health issues before accomplishing it. He asks Nora to keep this revelation a secret, and she agrees. Meanwhile, Dutch and Vasily visit Nikki's mother's house to inquire about Nikki's whereabouts, but the mother blames Dutch for her daughter's fate, leaving Dutch feeling guilty and upset. Returning to the laboratory, Ephraim comes to the realization that the vampire subject is fixated on Zach. He communicates with the Master, who possesses the ability to see beyond his human servants. Due to the Master's abduction of Kelly, Ephraim issues a threat. He warns that he could eliminate a large number of vampires under the Master's control and eventually track down and eliminate the Master himself. Furthermore, Ephraim declares that he would rather end Zach's and his own life than allow themselves to be turned if the Master gains the upper hand. In the subsequent sequence, Gus infiltrates the Stoneheart building by posing as an elevator inspector. This diversion distracts the guard and permits Vaughn and his fellow vampires to enter. While Gus and the security guard ascend in the elevator, the vampires cling to the bottom of the elevator and ascend alongside it. Simultaneously, other security personnel spot Gus and the vampires approaching Palmer's office through surveillance cameras. This prompts Eldritch Palmer and Coco to relocate to a concealed safe room. From this secure location, Palmer activates a code that deploys UV lights from the office ceiling. The UV lights instantaneously scorch the benevolent vampires. Despite their attempts to escape, the floor collapses beneath them, subjecting them to the burning lights. Vaughn, nearing death, implores Gus to flee, a request Gus manages to fulfill. Meanwhile, at Vasily's residence, Satrakian is in high spirits as he enjoys his pasta and wine. When Dutch inquires about any change in his demeanor, Satrakian attributes it to a renewed sense of vigor. At the lab, Ephraim and Nora believe they have effectively infected the vampire subject with their newly devised strain. The final step is to release the vampire subject and observe if the treatment has proven successful. In the next scene, a black and white old Spanish movie scene is shown, featuring a wrestler named Silver Angel fighting a vampire and pursuing it to its castle. During the battle, Silver Angel sustains a leg injury. In the present day, a man named Angel, who also has a limp, watches the movie on a VHS tape in fast-forward mode. Angel works as a dishwasher in an Indian restaurant. Following this, Ephraim, Nora, and Vasily release their vampire subject on the streets to observe if their pathogen injection worked. They follow the subject to a psychiatric hospital, where he joins a group of sleeping vampires, hoping that the subject will infect other vampires through direct contact. They plan to return later to check on the results. The next morning, Gus visits the Indian restaurant where Angel works, but Angel is wary of him, suspecting trouble. Meanwhile, at Vasily's place, Dutch informs Satrakian that Fitzwilliam has resigned from his position with Palmer and might be staying with his brother on Staten Island. Since Fitzwilliam spared Dutch and Vasily's lives despite Palmer's orders to kill them, Dutch suggests that Fitzwilliam could be an asset for their cause. Satrakian agrees with her idea, and they decide to head to Staten Island. In a flashback to 1966, Satrakian and Eldritch Palmer visit a nunnery in search of the Oxydo Lumen. The nunnery has been overrun by vampires, except for one young boy who managed to hide. The boy reveals that their Mother Superior had burned the Oxydo Lumen, considering it as evil. As they talk, a scream interrupts them, and the boy rushes towards it. Satrakian investigates the noise and searches for the boy. Meanwhile, Eichhorst visits Palmer and offers his help, as Palmer is searching for answers in the wrong places. Eventually, Satrakian locates the boy, only to return to an indifferent Palmer, who is eager to go home right away. Meanwhile, in the present, Gus goes back to his apartment where his vampire mother attempts to attack him. Despite his strong affection for her, he refuses to harm her. Unexpectedly, the Master communicates with Gus through his mother, claiming to represent the future while branding the ancients as the past. Moreover, the Master taunts Gus for his perceived cowardice and ignorance, even sensing his mother's disappointment in him. This infuriates Gus, prompting him to storm out and lock the apartment door. Feeling lost, Gus later returns to the Indian restaurant and clashes with Angel. Tensions escalate when Angel becomes angry with Gus due to Anya's interest in him. In a surprising revelation, Gus discovers that Angel is actually a former actor named Silver Angel, though Angel denies it and tells Gus to leave. Elsewhere, Ephraim, Vasily, and Nora head back home to rest before revisiting their vampire subject after sundown. Following Nora's suggestion, Ephraim decides to spend time with his son, taking him to a batting cage to play baseball. However, Zach is disheartened as he remembers doing the same activity with his mother. Later that night, Eldridge Palmer attends a meeting at the Federal Reserve of New York, gathering influential financial players to resume stock market trading and restore liquidity to the city's financial institution. Unbeknownst to the attendees, Palmer orchestrates a vampire attack led by Bolivar, resulting in the death of all the major financial players. In the next scene, Satrakian and Dutch are introduced to Fitzwilliam by his brother, who agrees with Satrakian's suggestion that Fitzwilliam should join forces with them. As Satrakian discusses the mission to find the Oxedo Lumen, he proposes that Fitzwilliam work with them to defeat Palmer and the evil he associates with. Subsequently, Ephraim, Nora, and Vasily return to the psychiatric hospital only to discover that the sleeping vampires have vanished. Frustrated, Vasily abandons their plan and heads to the subway to destroy the main entrance and kill some vampires. Meanwhile, Ephraim and Nora find their test subject slowly dying outside the hospital. To grant the dying vampire a less miserable death, Ephraim and Nora decide to put him down. To their surprise, they come across more dying vampires nearby. They realize that the master is instructing the infected vampires to commit suicide rather than spread their infection to others with Ephraim and Nora's disease strain. Meanwhile, Vasily successfully blows up the subway entrance but gets arrested by the police. On another front, Ephraim makes a decision to travel to Washington to meet his friend Rob Bartley, who can assist him in dealing with the military and using the new disease strain on a larger scale. However, Nora is concerned about the risks involved and advises him to be cautious. At the baseball batting cage, Kelly and the Feelers manage to track Zach's scent from a dropped scarf. Failing to find Zach there, Kelly becomes furious. In a different scene, police officers evacuate an apartment building while searching for vampires. The Feelers, guided by Kelly, attack 2 police officers, and she embraces them lovingly while humming a lullaby. Elsewhere, a friend of Dutch helps Ephraim change his identity to Jonathan Crowley, an epidemiologist of the CDC, and provides him with a new ID to facilitate his journey to Washington. Despite Ephraim's insistence, Nora refuses to accompany him along with Zach due to the risks involved and stays behind to take care of Zach. Consequently, Ephraim alters his appearance by shaving his head to avoid recognition and sets off for Washington alone. Meanwhile, Satrakian goes to Alonso Cream's high-end dealership in Queens, seeking the Oxedo Lumen. He offers valuable artifacts in exchange for the ancient book, but Alonso admits he doesn't have it. Nonetheless, Alonso mentions that he might know someone who does possess it. Satrakian leaves Alonso Cream a generous down payment in exchange for the promise of finding someone who possesses the Oxedo Lumen. In the subsequent scene, Nora and Dutch go to the police station to pick up Vasily. However, they find many upset individuals who have been evacuated from their homes and placed under quarantine for 72 hours by Councilwoman Feraldo's orders. To secure Vasily's release, Nora offers to instantly identify potentially infected individuals using a UV light instead of relying on quarantine. As a result, Vasily is freed. While Nora identifies the infected individuals, Vasily and Dutch share their knowledge about vampires with a police officer. Their familiarity with the effects of silver and UV light on vampires leads the officer to take them back to the previous apartment building for cleanup. In the next scene, the officer, Vasily, and Dutch enter the building and collaborate on methods to kill the vampires. Employing their respective skills, they eliminate the approaching vampires. The police use bullets to shoot off the vampires' heads. Dutch employs a silver grenade to eliminate a group hiding inside the elevator, and Vasily utilizes his skills to locate and stab a vampire in the walls with his silver sword. Elsewhere, Nora identifies Councilwoman Feraldo's nephew as infected, but Feraldo struggles to bring herself to kill him. Unable to bear the burden, she asks Nora to do it for her, now regretting her earlier decision to ask her people to accept their loved ones' deaths. Meanwhile, Ephraim manages to bypass security and boards a train to Washington. To his dismay, he encounters his former superior, Everett Barnes, the head of the CDC, on the same train. Despite trying to remain hidden, Ephraim ends up face-to-face with Barnes, resulting in a physical altercation. Ephraim eventually pushes Barnes off the train, leading to his demise as they continue to fight. Later, Ephraim successfully exits the train and manages to bypass security once again. Meanwhile, Satrakian becomes aware that he is being followed on the street and discovers that the man tailing him is Fitzwilliam, who expresses his willingness to assist Satrakian. On another note, Palmer and Coco have a dinner outing, during which a cardinal hints to Palmer that the thing he is seeking may soon surface. When Coco inquires about it, Palmer keeps the information to himself. After dinner, they return to the Stoneheart office, where they share a romantic dance. In a quarantined New Jersey airport, a plane lands despite strict rules, with the pilot claiming that their client was sick and it was an emergency. However, the client, a mysterious new vampire resembling Vaughn, the paratrooper vampire, breaks through the airport's gate and escapes in a car driven by a woman. Later, the mysterious vampire arrives in New York and goes to meet the ancients at their headquarters. He reveals that he is part of an elite group that trained Vaughn and his associates. Following Vaughn and his associates' deaths during their attempt to eliminate Palmer, the new vampire seeks to recruit human soldiers to stop the Master. In Washington, D.C., Ephraim reunites with his old friend, Rob Bradley, who holds significant government and military connections. Ephraim discloses his new identity and the backstory, along with the newly discovered disease strain for infecting vampires. Rob is fully supportive of Ephraim's plan and offers to help him disperse the disease strain on a large scale with the aid of the military. To this end, Rob connects Ephraim with Lee, a woman from a major pharmaceutical company. However, Ephraim reveals his true identity as Jonathan Crowley to Lee and shares the plan, which she readily agrees to support. Back at the Indian restaurant, Gus continues to irritate Angel, who eventually confesses that he used to be an actor until a career-ending injury on the set of Angel vs. the Vampires movie scene. Rhea, who seems to have a fondness for Gus, attracts Angel's protective nature. When Rhea's father asks her to make a dangerous delivery, Gus offers to help, but Angel insists on joining them. After completing the delivery, they are attacked by two vampires, and Gus impressively fights and kills the vampires, proving his worth in saving Rhea and Angel's lives. Meanwhile, after Fitzwilliam joins Satrakian's team, he confirms Palmer's plan to turn into a vampire and become the Master's right-hand man. Fitzwilliam also reveals the locations of several industrial buildings purchased by Eldritch for the Master's use. In Washington, Ephraim, Rob, and Lee have a dinner meeting to discuss the plan to stop the vampires. After Rob leaves them alone, Ephraim and Lee grow closer and end up in bed together. The following morning, Lee asks Ephraim to sign a non-disclosure agreement with the pharmaceutical company, Camerol. Reluctantly, Ephraim complies, understanding that it is necessary. Later that afternoon, Ephraim and Rob meet with someone from the National Guard, who agrees to utilize the military forces to help execute Ephraim's plan for New York. Meanwhile, Palmer meets with Eichhorst at one of his industrial properties and expresses concern that the Master is ignoring him, fearing that the Master won't fulfill his promises. However, Eichhorst remains calm and turns Palmer's threats back against him. In the next scene, Nora and Zach visit the police station to pick up some clothes and shoes that are being distributed. Nora engages in a conversation with Feraldo about Zach, and they are given an escort to drive them home at Feraldo's order. However, Kelly and the Feelers intercept the car and attack the driver. Nora and Zach manage to escape to a nearby church and seek help from Satrakian, who arrives with Vasily and Fitzwilliam to rescue them. During the fight, some Feelers are killed, and Kelly escapes. Tragically, Fitzwilliam gets bitten and asks Satrakian to end his life before he turns. Satrakian, left with no choice, beheads Fitzwilliam to prevent his transformation. In Washington, Ephraim and Lee celebrate their successful deal, but their joy is cut short when they discover Rob dead in his bedroom, and an armed man shoots and kills Lee. Ephraim manages to shoot the assailant in the head, who was sent by the Stoneheart group. Meanwhile, Eichhorst leads Bolivar to witness the Master's transformation. Surprisingly, the Master chooses Bolivar as his successor and performs the rituals, transferring his powers to him. Eichhorst, feeling betrayed, initially grieves but quickly pledges his loyalty to the new Master, Bolivar. A flashback takes us to ancient Rome, where we learn about the barbarian gladiator, a powerful warrior with unmatched strength, speed, and ferocity. He was known as the Night Demon of Sicily and was sponsored by a senator with knowledge of the dark arts due to his unique heritage as a half-breed, born with both human and demon blood, granting him godlike strength and agility. In the flashback, the barbarian gladiator, who was a hybrid with both human and vampire traits, sought to understand human beings and their nature. The senator offered him a comprehensive education on the battlefield, and due to his unique heritage, the gladiator could tolerate sunlight. It is revealed that this gladiator is the same vampire who communicated with the ancients in present-day New York. In the present, Dutch and Vasily visit Dutch's old apartment to retrieve some of her clothes. They become cautious when they hear movement underneath the stairs, suspecting it might be a vampire. However, they discover Dutch's roommate and former lover, Nikki, who has been hiding there all along. Dutch is excited to see Nikki and considers reuniting with her, which makes Vasily envious. He becomes even more annoyed when Dutch decides to take Nikki with her to Vasily's place, as she has a sprained ankle and it's a safer location. Meanwhile, Palmer invites Coco to join him on a helicopter ride around the city, and she accepts. However, an employee informs Palmer about Ephraim's actions. Since Ephraim hasn't revealed the truth to Coco, he asks her to leave for a moment. The employee reports that Ephraim has killed the gunman they sent earlier and is now untraceable. This worries Palmer, as Ephraim could potentially reformulate his disease strain. Meanwhile, Ephraim, who has been evading Palmer's men, returns from Washington. Before going back to his residence, he enters a bar where he cleans his shoulder wound with liquor and drinks the rest in the restroom. He then sits at the bar and begins to drown his sorrows in alcohol. Later at Vasily's house, Vasily discusses Dutch's stolen money and laptop with her, urging her to talk to Nikki about it. However, Dutch refuses, claiming it's not the right time, considering Nikki's current state of being hurt and terrified. Meanwhile, Satrakian diverts Vasily's attention from the matter as he takes him to a new factory location of the Stoneheart Group, which Fitzwilliam had previously directed him to. While exploring the factory, they stumble upon an empty school bus that once transported blind children and eventually discover a pile of soil from which the Feelers had emerged. Soon, they encounter the Feelers, who attempt to attack them. Both Satrakian and Vasily struggle to take down the Feelers until the entrance of the barbarian gladiator, Quinlan, who quickly dispatches the Feelers one by one. Meanwhile, Dutch helps Nikki settle at Vasily's house with everyone else, and a drunken Ephraim returns home. Later, Nora discovers Ephraim's wound and tends to it while he explains how Palmer disrupted their plan and orchestrated the murders of Rob and Lee. However, Nora reassures Ephraim that they will continue working on their cure and defeat Palmer. She also informs Ephraim about Kelly and the Feelers' recent attack on Zach. In another scene, Palmer takes Coco on a helicopter ride, and she asks him about Ephraim, having overheard their earlier conversation. Palmer lies to Coco, claiming that Ephraim is responsible for 4 murders, omitting some of the facts for her safety, and falsely states that he is doing everything to save the city. In the Stoneheart factory, the barbarian gladiator, Quinlan, introduces himself to Satrakian and Vasily. He seeks human soldiers to find the master and has been hunting him for thousands of years. Quinlan invites Satrakian to work with him in his quest. In a flashback to Albania in 1873, Quinlan searches for Jusuf Sardu, who would later become the master, in a village taken over by turned individuals, abandoned by the healthy. Quinlan enters the castle and finds Sardu's cane, which he no longer needs after becoming the master. Back in the present, Satrakian is taken aback to discover that Quinlan had the cane before him. Quinlan shares his backstory and reveals that Satrakian's actions have critically injured the master, forcing him to adopt a new form. Satrakian is overwhelmed to learn that the master is now nesting nearby. When Quinlan sets off to search for the master, Satrakian urgently instructs Vasily to retrieve dynamite to blow up the building with the master inside it. As Vasily leaves to get the dynamite, Satrakian explores the building and comes across the master's old body lying on the ground. Meanwhile, Quinlan successfully locates Bolivar, now the new master, accompanied by Eichhorst. Vasily sets up the dynamite on the next floor above them. When Satrakian sees Bolivar as the new master, he is shocked. Quinlan threatens to destroy the master, but the master counters, vowing to make Quinlan scream in agony, just as he did to Quinlan's mother. This provokes Quinlan, who charges at the master to kill him. At that moment, the dynamite detonates, allowing the master and Eichhorst to escape. Quinlan is furious with Satrakian for letting the master get away, blaming him for the missed opportunity. He asserts that it's his fight with the master and that he will take it from here before departing. As police sirens are heard, Satrakian and Vasily also leave the factory, their chance to eliminate the master slipping away. Elsewhere, at the Stoneheart building, Palmer and Coco enjoy another drink in his office after their helicopter ride. Coco flirts with Palmer and inquires about his past relationships. He confesses that due to his poor health, he never had a romantic relationship before. Coco expresses her desire to see Palmer's bedroom, and she takes the initiative to invite herself inside. The two end up getting close, kissing, and spending the night together. Back at Satrakian's place, he reads an ancient book to learn more about Quinlan, with Zach attentively listening to the story. The book reveals that there are no records that explain where Quinlan came from or how he was created. The nickname The Born, given to him by his Senator Sertorius, suggests a possible clue to his origin. Zach asks Satrakian whether Quinlan is real or a legend, to which Satrakian responds that he is both. In another scene, Ephraim and Vasily have drinks at a bar and discuss Dutch, Nikki, and the failed attempt in Washington. Ephraim shares his plan to kill Palmer by shooting him from a distance, and Vasily recommends an arms dealer named Jimmy Woo to get a rifle for the task. Later, Nora asks Ephraim about Barnes' death falling off the train, but Ephraim denies knowing anything about it. When Ephraim and Zach arrive at Jimmy Woo's place, they discover he has been shot. Jimmy's terrified daughter pleads with Ephraim to help her father, and Zach reveals that he is a doctor. With limited resources, they perform emergency surgery on Jimmy to save his life. Meanwhile, at Stoneheart, Palmer and Coco wake up together in bed. Coco is curious about Palmer's secrets, particularly regarding Eichhorst. However, Palmer refuses to reveal anything to Coco, claiming it's not the right time for disclosure. Later, Palmer meets with the Cardinal, McNamara, and offers him $500,000 in gold for the Oxydo Lumen. However, the cardinal states that he will decide after speaking with another potential buyer. Eichhorst interrupts their meeting, causing the cardinal to leave. Palmer and Eichhorst get into an argument, during which Eichhorst reveals that the master has assumed his new form within Bolivar's body. Palmer taunts Eichhorst for not getting the opportunity despite his years of loyalty and service. Furious and dejected, Eichhorst departs, declaring his eternal loyalty to the master in any form. In the next scene, Satrakian and Vasily meet with the cardinal to negotiate for the Oxydo lumen, now priced at $750,000 in gold. Satrakian agrees to pay the sum immediately, but the cardinal insists on speaking with another bidder first. After leaving the cardinal's house, Vasily questions how they will manage to pay such a substantial amount. Satrakian confides in him that they plan to steal the book instead. Meanwhile, at the arms dealership, Ephraim successfully treats Jimmy's wounds. Ephraim requests a rifle as payment instead of money, and Zach, observing his father's skill, asks him to try to save Kelly too. Ephraim attempts to make Zach understand that Kelly is now a vampire, but Zach struggles to accept this fact, leading to a heartfelt father-son debate. We see Kelly driving a car, appearing just like her old self. During a checkpoint, an officer asks for her ID and scans her with a UV light. Just as Kelly fears she might be caught, a vampire appears in a car behind her, distracting the officer and allowing her to escape. Later, she stops in a secluded area and releases her feelers from the car's trunk. That same night, Gus and Angel convince the Gupta family, the owners of the Indian restaurant, to leave their establishment and find a safer place. Anya invites Gus to join them, and they share a kiss. However, Quinlan interrupts and takes Gus aside for a private conversation. Quinlan, assembling a team of human soldiers, asks Gus to join him in the mission to kill the master. Additionally, Quinlan reveals that he was Vaughn's mentor and is using the ancients to find and destroy the master. He convinces Gus to join his mission by emphasizing that it's the only way to protect Anya from harm. Gus eventually agrees to be part of the team. Meanwhile, Eichhorst approaches the cardinal to acquire the Oxydo lumen, but the price has increased to $1 million. When the cardinal refuses, Eichhorst attacks and turns him into a vampire so the master can read his thoughts and locate the book. Vasily and Satrakian attempt to steal the book but fail to capture Eichhorst. Prior to the cardinal's transformation into a vampire, Satrakian proposes an alternative. He suggests ending the cardinal's life to send him to the realm of God instead of succumbing to evil. Satrakian makes this offer in return for information regarding the individual possessing the book. It is later revealed that the book is in the possession of Rudyard Fonsku, the very same boy whom Satrakian had rescued at the nunnery back in 1966. Later, Palmer and Coco watch the news about the cardinal's murder, which raises Coco's suspicions. She questions Palmer about the Oxydo lumen, but he refuses to reveal the truth, causing Coco to leave angrily. Back at Ephraim's place, he and Nora argue about the Washington trip. Ephraim finally admits to killing Barnes and reveals his involvement with Lee, who died in his arms. While they are arguing, they hear Zach talking to someone and sense trouble downstairs. Kelly, now looking and sounding like her old self, tries to convince Zach to let her in. Zach mistakes her for his mother and allows her inside. As Kelly enters with the feelers, a confrontation ensues. Nora tries to shoot Kelly, but misses, and just as Kelly is about to infect Ephraim, Nora saves him. During the fight, Zach realizes that the woman before him is not his mother anymore. Ephraim and Nora shoot at Kelly, but some of the feelers shield her from the bullets, allowing her to escape. Later, Eichhorst recruits a man at the shipyard to transport him and his private passengers to Red Hook, offering a significant amount of money as payment. The man agrees to the offer, and they set off for their destination. Meanwhile, Eichhorst visits Kelly, who is feeling sad and worried about her failure to infect Zach. She fears that Nora has replaced her in Zach's life. Eichhorst consoles Kelly, assuring her that Zach belongs to her, and they begin preparing for their next plan to take over Red Hook. Back at Vasily's place, Satrakian panics, fearing that Kelly's visit will reveal their location to the master. Nora suggests making an alliance with Justine Feraldo and her well-armed team to work together in their mission. Vasily goes to Dutch's apartment, where she has been staying with Nikki for a few days. He informs Dutch about Nora's plan, but she is unsure about joining the team and leaving Nikki alone. Meanwhile, Feraldo and the mayor have a meeting, during which Feraldo presents her new plan to extend safety measures into Brooklyn. However, the mayor pushes her to take more significant action and implement her safety plan in the Upper East Side, where wealthy constituents reside. Feraldo is hesitant about this. Ephraim, Zach, and Satrakian interrupt their meeting to warn them that the vampires have already entered Red Hook, urging them to be prepared. Later that night, Eichhorst and Kelly, accompanied by a swarm of vampires, arrive in Red Hook on the boat. Instead of paying the ship's captain as promised, Eichhorst asks Kelly to turn him into a vampire. Ephraim and Satrakian opt to wait near Feraldo's office until Nora and Vasily return. Suddenly, Eichhorst and his followers proceed to eliminate the power plant workers and disable the area's power, thereby deactivating the protective UV lights. Satrakian outlines the potential strategy of the vampires, hypothesizing that they might begin with a small group of test soldiers before launching a full-scale assault with their entire horde. As a result, Feroldo readies her troops for battle, putting faith in Satrakian's analysis. In the meantime, Ephraim, Nora, Vasily, and Zach head to the power plant with the intention of reactivating the UV lights. Satrakian returns home, anticipating that Eichhorst will come looking for him. In a subsequent scene, Dutch and Nikki wake up in their apartment after hearing commotion outside. Sensing the gravity of the situation, Dutch arms herself and prepares to join the fight. Before leaving, she hands Nikki a silver knife, urging her to stay safe at home. As the confrontation unfolds, Feroldo realizes that the vampires outside the power plant are numerous and her forces are insufficient to combat them all. She takes to the streets with a megaphone to rally the civilians, declaring it a do-or-die situation and seeking their assistance in the battle against the vampires. Empowered by Feroldo's call, the people unite to fight back. At the power plant, Ephraim and his group engage in combat with the vampires. They continue fighting until they locate the control room. In the midst of this, a vampire identifies Zach, and this information is relayed to Kelly through her ability to perceive other vampires. While Nora and Vasily work on restoring the power, Ephraim leaves to aid Satrakian and confront Eichhorst. Elsewhere, a horde of vampires clashes with a large group of civilians. Dutch and Nikki also join the fight, with Nikki saving Dutch's life at a crucial moment. Ultimately, Nora successfully manages to restore the power, causing the dispersal of UV lights that incinerate the vampires. This marks a temporary end to the Battle of Red Hook. Outside the control room at the power plant, Kelly appears, and Zach is terrified upon seeing her. He seeks refuge with Nora. Vasily engages in a direct confrontation with Kelly. Meanwhile, Nora and Zach manage to escape the power plant. Vasily confronts Kelly and a physical struggle ensues. Suddenly, worms start emerging from Kelly's body into Vasily's hand. He quickly removes his hand, disposing of the worms, which gives Kelly an opportunity to escape. After the successful battle in Red Hook, the people celebrate their victory with hugs and smiles, proud of their courage in the fight against the vampires. Vasily, Nora, Zach, Dutch, Nikki, Ephraim, and Satrakian reunite, relishing the momentary success they have achieved. Councilwoman Justine Feraldo delivers a victory speech, commending the town for their bravery and calling the battle a turning point in the war against the vampires. Meanwhile, Ephraim and Dutch team up to spy on Palmer from a building across the street from his office. Dutch uses her tech knowledge to set up a detecting laser device that can read vibrations on the window glass, converting them into clear sound. Their plan is to gather information and take down Palmer using this intel. In Manhattan, Councilwoman Feraldo meets with the wealthy and influential residents of the Upper East Side to discuss bringing her safety project to their neighborhood. She receives applause and praise until she mandates a 1% property value tax to fund the SSI for their protection service. She emphasizes that the people of Red Hook physically aided her and the police in their fight against the vampires, showing the importance of unity and support in combating the threat. Elsewhere, in search of the Oxido Lumen, Satrakian, Nora, and Vasily meticulously go through the various addresses associated with Arfenscu from the phone book. Satrakian explains that the book is believed to be cursed, bringing death and calamity to those who read it. Proceeding with caution, Nora and Vasily explore the Fonscu listings one by one. They enter an apartment still resonating with music from the time its owner was human, only to discover vampires inside. After dispatching the vampires, they realize it's not the correct address. The next apartment they break into, located above a bookstore, seems more promising. With the apartment vacant, the trio embarks on a search for the Oxido Lumen, a book encased in a silver cover. On the same day, Palmer visits Coco's apartment. Climbing the stairs alone like an ordinary person, he apologizes to Coco, pleading for her forgiveness, confessing his love and fear of losing her. Coco is angered by Palmer's assumption that his troubled past entitles him to her forgiveness. Despite this, she grants him a second chance and returns to him. Meanwhile, Ephraim and Dutch discuss their complicated love lives. As Dutch engages in a conversation about monogamy and societal norms, they detect Palmer and Coco's arrival through a laser device. Ephraim and Dutch prepare for action as Palmer meets with the mayor, who urges him to persuade Councilwoman Feroldo to lift a tax obligation. Palmer agrees and sets a meeting time and place with Feroldo, hinting to Ephraim and Dutch to prepare for a shooting. They plan to flee on a motorcycle after targeting Palmer with a sniper rifle. At the scene, Feroldo addresses an irate crowd protesting against the imposed tax. Palmer arrives with Coco and his security detail. Ephraim takes a shot at Palmer, but his bullet hits Coco instead. Assuming they have succeeded, Ephraim and Dutch flee the scene. However, it's revealed that Coco was hit, not Palmer. Ephraim and Dutch are apprehended by the police. In another setting, Satrakian, Nora, and Vasily continue searching the apartment above the bookstore. They learn about the attempted assassination and the subsequent arrest of Ephraim and Dutch. Vasily discloses Ephraim's plan to kill Palmer, which Satrakian approves. Nora and Vasily head to the police station to rescue their comrades. Back at Stoneheart, during Coco's surgery, Iquess appears and mocks Palmer's thoughts, condemning him for endangering Coco's life. Tormented, Palmer demands that Zyker bring the Master to save Coco. Iquess reminds Palmer that the Master's decisions aren't influenced by matters of the heart. Following surgery, Coco's condition stabilizes, but she may wake up brain damage due to her injuries. At the police station, Ephraim and Dutch are detained together before Dutch is taken away. Ephraim is surprised to see Palmer alive. Palmer blames Ephraim for harming an innocent woman and expresses his alliance with the Master. Ephraim asserts his lack of regret, stating that evil will soon prevail. Palmer claims to be the Master's partner, but Ephraim scoffs at this. Later, the Master appears at Palmer's place and revitalizes Coco. When the Master vanishes, Coco questions Palmer, who admits his alliance with the Master. Meanwhile, the police station is attacked by vampires, prompting Vasily and Nora to intervene. They save Ephraim and learn that Dutch has been taken to the Mayfield Hotel. Elsewhere, Satrakian searches the bookshop apartment for the Oxydo Lumen. Confronted by a vampire, he decapitates it, only to realize it's not the turned Rudyard Fonsku. He eventually finds the real Oxydo Lumen hidden beneath a floorboard. As Satrakian examines the book, he's struck unconscious from behind, and the book is stolen. The season ends with Dutch, who is chained up by her neck and imprisoned in a room. Iquess, with a wicked grin, pulls the chain and drags Dutch towards him. She tries to resist and scream, but her cries are muffled within the padded white walls of the room. This season sets the stage for further intense confrontations and revelations in the ongoing battle against the vampires and the quest for the Oxydo Lumen. The characters face challenging situations, and the narrative continues to escalate with suspense and tension. That's all for today, folks. Like, share, and subscribe for more such content. Curious Knight signing off. Stay safe, stay curious.